What's up, everyone? How you doing? My name is John. Thank you so much for tuning in. This video, I want to talk about Garbage Pail Kids, but more specifically, a brand new video game based on the series called Garbage Pail Kids, Mad Mike, and the Quest for Stale Gum. The game itself is currently out, just came out October 25th for the Steam, Switch, Xbox One, and PS4. So it's available digitally currently, and sometime in Q1, they're going to ship a NES bundle, right? It's going to come with 2 different NES games with different colored cartridges. It's going to come sealed in box, which is going to be awesome. And that's shipping sometime next year, early next year. And I'm really excited because, as you can see, I've got the shirt. I'm a huge fan of Garbage Pail Kids. Growing up, huge influence in my life in general. The cards themselves, for those who may not know what Garbage Pail Kids are, right? If you're a younger generation, you may not know, be aware of them. They were collectible cards by Topps. And Topps in the 80s and still today, they make a lot of sports cards, right? That's kind of what they were known for. But this is kind of their dive into targeting kids. Super controversial back in the 80s because these cards were kind of based on, there's no denying it, I'm sure it's heavily influenced by the Cabbage Patch Kids, which was by Coleco, and it was a very popular doll line also during the same time, right? But these are kids doing grotesque things, throwing up, farting. I mean, we loved it as kids, right? Because, popping zits, it just, doing crazy, literally peeling skin in some cases. And they all had kind of their twins. So there was like, same card, but different names. So for example, you had Mean Gene and Joltin' Joe, but they were the same card, different names, and they were considered twins. And then you had on the back, like this is, I believe these are for the first pack, but they had like some type of award, right? So you had some type of award, which is cool. And they're stickers, also, right? Now, how has it influenced me as an adult today? Well, several years ago, we at CollectorVision Games released City Hunter and the Caverns of Death for the Super Nintendo, and I'm wearing the shirt. And you can see that Joe Simcoe, the artist, actually works for Topps and did a lot of the artwork for the cards today. And yes, the line is back. It came back in 2023. They brought it back, Topps did. And it's still around today. They license it. And what's cool about this game, it's officially licensed by Topps today. So it's really cool. It's officially licensed game. And by the way, the NES cartridge is limited to 4,000 copies only. So it is available for pre-order now. I'll put a link in the information here on YouTube if you want to check it out. But you can see the artwork's very, in fact, for the Super Nintendo game we actually produced a Garbage Pail Kids / card right here, kind of style card with City Hunter. And you can see kind of you can see how influenced the card is, right? Anyway, you can see that. It's really cool, really fun to do. So in this video, I'm gonna show you some gameplay on the Switch. There's some really cool features. There's some videos. You can change the borders. You can rewind it. There's some really cool things you can do with this. Let's take a closer look. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys remember Garbage Pail Kids? I certainly do. And they had other ones where, like, on the back, you can, like, put together a puzzle, which is really cool. I thought it was really fun. They had, like, what's this one right here? This is Newly Dead Ed. And look like he's, like, blowing up and crazy things. But what's cool about this NES game, and I'm going to show you, this game was built for the NES. So everything I'm going to show you in this video, the graphics, the color palettes, the music, everything is NES style. That's why you'll see that the aspect ratio is 4:3, not 16:9. So that's why there's a border, because they wanted to maintain that. Now you can widen the border, you can make it full screen, although in my opinion it seems a little bit stretched. I feel like it plays better on the original aspect ratio that the Nintendo was built. So I love the fact this is like a game that came out, feels like it should have come out in the 80s, and they're bringing it back 30 years later. I love that. So I hope there's more licensed games like that, which would be really, really fun and cool. So anyway, without any further ado, let's take a closer look at the gameplay. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and let's take a closer look. Here it is. This is the Switch version of Garbage Pail Kids, Mad Mike, and the Quest for Stale Gum. Presented by I Am 8-Bit, teaming up with Retrotainment Games, and of course licensed by Topps, I've mentioned before. They've done a handful of these classic new NES games, both for the classic NES physical as well as for modern consoles, which is a combination of both. I love it. These features I'm showing you here to begin with are not available on the NES cart, of course, because the NES system can't handle it. The options are just credits and license. You have a gallery, which is really cool, menu. Love the boombox, by the way. Ton of different characters in the game. What's really cool is they've taken these characters, really popular Garbage Pail Kids characters, and they've pixelated them. And a lot of these characters can be special cards, which I'm showing you here, but there's a trading card element in Garbage Pail Kids, Mad Mike, and the Quest for Stale Gum as well. And there's like dozens of these characters, and they show up through each level as you play, which is really creative. And I just love the pixelated look. The soundtrack is really good too, which, by the way, I'll show you in a second. There is a soundtrack available through the digital version as well. You can just listen to it. But a lot of really creative Pixar here, as you can see. Just goes on and on. Really cool. I remember some of these characters growing up as a kid. And I do want to clarify one thing too. When I mentioned that there was 2 different carts, you don't get both carts when you purchase the NES cart. You basically get one, but there's 2 different colors, right? So you have one which is called Mad Mike Blue, and you get the Ultra Limited Stale Gum Pink, which is one of 8. So they basically did, I think, like 400 copies of that, and then basically the rest are in the blue. So it's kind of random which one you'll get. What I'm showing you here is, this is kind of original art that the level design, which is really cool. They've scanned these in, you can zoom in. And of course you have the manual, which the NES game will come with as well. Now it is kind of appears as small, but you can zoom in and you can read the story, the foreword by Adam Goldberg, which if you watch the Goldbergs on ABC, it's a great show, by the way. He's a big fan of Garbage Pail Kids. He did a foreword, which I think is really cool. Here's the music. This is a great soundtrack, handful of different tunes. Each of the 6 levels, of course, has its own tune, and then you have the boss battles and all that good stuff, different tunes. And then you have movies. So you have this Mad Mike Fury Load, and you have Coming Soon, The True Story. That's kind of it's a promo trailer to, I'm not quite sure if it's legit, to be honest with you, but this is a really cool kind of stop motion mini movie featuring Garbage Pail Kids, and it's included, which is awesome. I'll show you kind of a snippet, but really cool animation style. Really dig this. So let's take a closer look, quick peek at it. Really cool. I love that. I don't know if you notice spoofs like Dr. Pooper instead of Dr. Pepper there is awesome. But the documentary I was talking about before, it's kind of a history. They had a bunch of people talking about how this game was supposed to come out. I'm not quite sure if that was legit or not. I don't know. But here's the game itself. You can notice that I am playing in the 4:3 aspect ratio. You can start, you continue. It does have automatic saves, which is nice. And that's Adam Bomb. He's like one of the first Garbage Pail Kids. I think he was like the first card in the whole series, which is awesome. 4 different levels or playing difficulties, which is super helpful. And it kind of shows the story. So the basic premise of this game is you're Mad Mike and you're really craving, you want the most stale gum possible. And for those who may not know, these packs of cards did come with chewing gum. But today, 30 years later, the chewing gum is definitely stale and it's more powdered. You probably could snort it more than chew it. So it's kind of funny that he's going for this quest, and what this guy's saying is basically, yes, I can create this gum for you, the stale gum, but you need to go out and pick up these special items in these 6 different levels or worlds and bring them back and I'll make the gum. So that's kind of the whole premise of the story in a nutshell, which I think is really creative, honestly, and I love it. This border you're seeing here is the stock border. There's other borders. I'll show you different options. You can change that within the settings. You can also stretch it out to 16:9 ratio, and again, that kind of makes it feel a little bit stretched. I prefer this, but it's nice that they have those options for sure with the borders. This is probably my favorite border. Really great artwork too, and it shows all different 4 characters you play as. So you can choose your level initially, just like Capcom games back in the day. You can kind of choose your levels like Mega Man. And each level, at the beginning of each level, there is a character you can actually talk to and trade various cards with. So there's a trading card element as well, which is kind of cool. So now they can accept your trade or you make an offer, and each card has its own ability. So this is a kind of particular case where I'm trading a card here. We can see what they have available. I think that's a really cool aspect of Garbage Pail Kids, Mad Mike, and the quest for a stale gum. That you can do that. Very cool, very clever. Adam Bomb for sure is the best special card. He blows up all the enemies on one screen. So, basic attack and jump. It is a platforming game. That's the person I was talking to trade. I like the different scrolling. I like the parallax scrolling in the game as well. They've done a really good job with that. With the water and all that good stuff. It's awesome. The gold each level also, there's different items you can get. You can get different letters, spell trash. This game, I guess, would be a compliment to say it's trash. Not meaning that's terrible, of course, but it's a unique game, definitely unique platforming for sure. Here's one. There I got the T. Now I gotta get the rest of the spell of the word. 4 characters in the game. You start with this guy here, Mad Mike, of course, but you can switch. And by switching, you hit select to switch, and each character has its own unique ability. Let's go here. Keep getting hit. Based on what difficulty you play, like if you play on the easiest mode, there's unlimited lives. Hardest, obviously, the continues are limited and all that good stuff too. Here are the special cards you have available to use. They will, depending on what card you can use, Buggy Betty to fly to different areas. Not a great place in the game to use it necessarily, but if you want hard to reach areas, you can use this picker, and it's only limited time you can use them, and it wears out after a while. I was lucky not to die there. Here's another stage. You can switch characters right away and replenish your health. So if one dies, it's kind of like the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the NES, where if one dies, you have the 3 remaining. This is kind of a baby, and his attack is jump. And he can jump really high, and you can jump on characters or enemies and defeat them. Gotta watch out for these tires. This is Tokyo, by the way. This is that particular level. So each stage is kind of its own theme. I think I got the T. There are different boss battles within this game as well. And the bosses are very, very challenging. I won't spoil it for you, but they are very challenging. The controls are solid. Here's another one. She likes to throw her snot, which is super gross, but she fires snot. You can fire 2 at a time. She's a great attack. Probably one of my favorites. And it just looks gross with all the snot. Let's go down here. Sewer. This kind of reminds me of Turtles a little bit with the sewer. You can kind of see some inspirations here. Here's the other guy, and he throws up, which is gross, and his throw up is a short range attack. Go to the baby because he's got the best jump. So there's different parts in the game where you want to definitely use different characters. I would say with the character that does a throw up, the vomit, it's definitely cool, but if you're jumping and trying to attack, it can get very, very tricky. No doubt. So it's 4 power cards which you can use. Some stun, some attack them all. Here's another, this is Egypt, I believe, right? So welcome to Egypt, you can trade cards. He's got Buggy Betty, so that's another power card. So you can trade different cards to get a power card, essentially. I've also added scan lines. You notice that the scan line. So that's a feature which is really cool. You can actually add various scan lines. There is like a CRT mode. There is LCD mode. Different types of scan lines. That's not available on the NES cart, of course. But I do like the scan lines. It makes it feel like it's playing on kind of a classic monitor. You can change the screen size in different options. You can save. There's a screen size. You can widen it. Different borders. We'll try LCD. You can see see how it changes there. That's kind of different. I like monitor. Looks pretty good. You hear the borders? That's kind of a cool one. Kind of reminds me of the classic Saved by the Bell look from the show. But definitely screams 80s. This is also really cool. It makes it look like it's playing on old TV, which that's pretty standard with a lot of the Retrotainment 8-bit, IM8-bit games that they've done. But this is my favorite for sure. You can do the reduce flicker as well. But yeah, that's cool. It's like it's playing on a monitor, which is awesome. Definitely prefer keeping this aspect ratio, as I mentioned before. Gotta watch those cactus. Kind of reminds me of Mario Brothers 2, or I think it's 3, with the desert. Here's another stage. Kind of a hot to stage, which is fitting, because it's, but I'm recording this on Halloween. More vomit. When you do the vomit projectile, if you hold it down, it'll actually go further than if you just tap it, it'll go kind of a short distance. So that's kind of a nice feature as well. So different attacks, and same thing with jumping as well. Controls are really solid. There's a rewind feature too. You can actually go backwards in this. If you hold the left shoulder button, you can go back, which is cool. So if you end up dying and you want to go back, you can rewind it and start over. That's not available in the NES cart, of course, but overall, really a big fan of Garbage Pail Kids. I'm really glad they made this game for the NES. It's really cool. What do you guys think of it? Do you guys remember the cars? Are you guys big fans? There is a live action movie that came out in the 80s that was terrible. This is definitely better than that. I definitely recommend Garbage Pail Kids, Mad Mike, and The Quest for Stale Gum. Available now, current consoles soon for the NES. We'll see you guys soon. Take care, and of course, game on.